Hello, welcome back. We are building a tilted table game. Last time we got this far. If you played with it like I asked you to, thank you. Make sure you're reset to this as a circle on both the collision shape and the mesh instance. And this as a box, big old flat box on both the collision and the mesh. Since it'll become relevant later, make sure that since we played with the rotation last time, the rotation should be, yep, all the way at 0. Cool, cool. We're going to be tipping this table around to make the ball go anywhere. But our player is not going to be able to, like, alter it in Godot and then hit the scene. That's not actually how that works. We're going to put a script on... I'm going to rename this table. T-A-B-L-E. We're going to put a script on our table. Let me do that a little slower so you can see. I've got table highlighted. I'm coming over to the inspector. All the way at the bottom, see where it says script? Press the little arrow, new script. I think table is a fine name. And hit create. Okay, so think through this. If the player presses the arrow keys, we want the table to rotate. In Godot, if we're dealing with inputs, we use func input, which is built into Godot. I'm going to type pass here for a second, just so it stops erroring at me. I'm up into project settings. I clicked project and project settings. If you go to your input map and go to show built-in actions, it should already have UI up, left, down, and right. Yep, there they all are. And I'm going to leave these alone because it's the arrow keys. It's already set up with the arrow keys. But if you wanted to, you can press plus and it says listening for input. The next key I press, it's also going to consider left. So like if I wanted WASD, for example, I could hit A and it's like, oh, you want A there? In fact, I'll just go ahead and do it. D would be right now, wouldn't it? W would be up. And S would be down. So now my game works with the arrow keys or WASD. To tell Godot to listen for any of these keys, you have to use this as a string. I'll show you. It's not that hard. Let me get rid of pass. If this variable right here, event, is whatever Godot detected was being pressed on the keyboard. Event dot... We want to know just literally what it is. So I'm going to use a function called isAction, and Godot knows already what I want to do. I'm going to just start with, I've got to use quotation marks because this is a string, meaning it's letters, UI up. Now, because I've typed UI up, Godot is going to listen for any of the inputs that were under UI up in the project settings. So if I press up on my keyboard, it's going to work. If I press W on my keyboard, it's going to work. So if we press W or up on the keyboard, what do we want to do? Well, we want it to rotate. That doesn't work. So I've got table highlighted. If I come over here in the inspector and I'm like, well, I want to change any property on this thing. Highlight it. See where it says, if I move my mouse, it's going to like go away, so I can't point to it. But do you see where it says property rotation? That's telling you what to type in the code. So we're going to type rotation. And specifically, okay, we got to figure out which rotation we want to edit, right? So I would just come over here if I didn't know. I'm going to click on this little circle grabber thing, and I'm going to see, yeah, I think it's X that we want to change, because when the user presses up, what I want to happen is the table tip up, or the quote-unquote up end of the table come up toward the user. That's what the Y rotation looks like, if you were curious. And the Z rotation. Cool. Okay, let's come back into the script. So we want to talk to rotation. And we decided X, right? Yep. We want to add to that number, because if you'll notice when we were in the inspector, if I drug it and I tipped up, that number gets bigger, so add 2. That's not weird. If I could spell it, rotation.x plus, so this number could be anything, really. I've done some playing with the numbers, and I really like that one. If you want a different number, you can change it, but try mine first. So when we run, let me click the clapboard. I press up, it tips, and the ball goes away permanently. Well, all right, so if event.isAction UI down, we want to do the opposite, right? Minus is the opposite, subtraction is the opposite. Now, when we run current scene, if I press down, I should be able to tip it down. If I press up, I should be able to tip it up. If I'm really good, I should be able to keep the ball on the table, shouldn't I? Whoops. Okay, well that's a problem for the testers. You could honestly make a game out of what we have, but I also want the table to tip left and right as well. We determined that that was, yeah, that's Z, right? Set that back to 0. Let me show you. Did you see the reset? Like the little squiggle? I guess if you were using an internet browser, that would be refresh. Let's come back into our script. If event dot is action UI. Let's do left. No, I want to do right. It doesn't matter. But UI right, we add, and UI left, we subtract. And like, we added up here and we subtracted down here, so this just feels better to me. Rotation, we already said it was .z. Rotation. If event dot, hello, dot is action, and left is the only one. Left. Rotation.z equals rotation.z minus 0.005. Let's run it, see what we've done. So if I press left, the left edge of the table should come up, and it does. If I press right, right edge of the table should come up, and it does. We lost the ball. That's okay. In memoriam. But look, we can rotate it. Now there is a problem. Let me show you. Actually, there's 2 problems. We'll fix the less obvious problem first. These numbers are what are called hard-coded numbers. Meaning they're just like, well, they're numbers. We don't like numbers in programming. We like variables. What if later you decided that the table tilted too fast and you wanted to change this? You gotta change it in 4 different places. What if you forgot to change it in a place? Now it rotates to the right slightly faster. That's annoying. What if you decided you wanted to have a power-up that made the table rotate slower or faster? What if your testers all came back and said that they wanted the table speed changed and you did it? This is the easy way. We're going to make a variable, and I'm going to type export. When I finish typing this, it's not going to do it now because it's got all these errors, but this variable is going to land over here in the inspector. So if we want to change it, we don't have to open the code up. We can just type. I'm going to call it var. That tells Godot we're about to make a variable. Tilt. Speed. And I'm going to type it as a float. Floats can be whole numbers, but they're usually not. their opposite is an int, int. Ints are like 1, 2, 3, 4. Floats are 0.5. 1.0 is a float because it's got the decimal in there. For us, I'm going to do what's called default it. I'm going to put an equals. I'm just going to copy. That's absolutely a float. And look, over here in the inspector, did you just see it pop up? It says tilt speed, and there's our number. If you want to change that, bam, you could just do it. It even lets us reset it. So now, instead of all this, we're just going to do it by tilt speed. Should work the exact same. But it's much easier to change now. The other problem we have is if I spin this, it spins forever. I would like the user to not be able to completely flip the table. This is not tabletop simulator. 3D view. Where's rotation? I can kind of play with rotation a little. Hello. I can play with rotation a little bit. I'm just going to grab it and start rotating it. I don't want the instance. I want... Oh my goodness, I'm selected the instance. Nope, that's not right. I want the table itself. I want that rotation. Yeah, now you can see like, 40 degrees is kind of a lot. 18's not bad, which probably means a nice round 20 is okay. Okay. So, you're very tempted to go back and type 20 degrees, and you wouldn't be wrong. But let's read the description for rotation. It's rotation part of the local transformation in radians. Sorry, Godot uses radians in code. But look down there at the note. This property is edited in the inspector in degrees. If you want to use degrees in a script, you have to use rotation degrees. You'd be tempted, and you wouldn't be wrong. Export var. In video games, when we have a value that we don't want to go above or below something, we call it a clamp. So I'm going to call this tilt clamp. It's probably a float. That sounds right, and you'd be very tempted to go 20. Okay, and you can even see it come up here. We only want it to go 20 degrees. So if they press up and rotation dot x is less than tilt clamp. Then it's only going to rotate 20 degrees, right? Yeah, that's way more than 20 degrees. It's counting radians, and it's going to be counting for a while. There's two ways through this. You could convert the degrees to radians, maybe use an online calculator, and use that number. Why? Godot will do it for you. It's not that big a deal. There's a function called deg2rad, or degrees to radians. Now what that does is it puts the number of radians in the inspector. And now it does stop after a certain point. 20 degrees. This is fine. You could go forever from here. If you wanted to change tilt clamp, you would have to do it in radians. I don't know who's watching my video. It's very possible that some doctorate of mathematics in radians is watching this, and they could just do that cold. For the rest of us, I'm going to set this back to 20. Godot has a built-in function called ready. Whenever this script loads, the first thing it does is it calls ready. I'm going to set tilt clamp equal to tilt clamp equals to convert it to radians for me. Should still work the same. Yep. The other way also works fine. This is just like a quality of life thing. Or what if you had to hand this off to another team member? Or what if you just forget that it's in radians and you set it to 1,000,000? Or just, I don't know. It's whatever you prefer to be fooling with in the inspector. Point being, let's clamp all of these. And rotation dot X. We got to flip it. Now it's got to be greater than tilt clamp. UI right and rotation. Now we're working with dot Z. It's going to be less than. Oh, I forgot. This is going to be negative. Because technically, let me show you. Boop, boop, boop. We flip it that way, it's positive. Once we start flipping that way, it's negative. So that tilt clamp does have to be negative. And rotation.z. I can't see which one it is. .c, it's got to be greater than negative tilt clamp. All right, let's see what I've messed up. We're probably going to lose the ball, but it stops. It stops. I like that it works on an angle. That makes me feel good. It stops and it stops. Excellent. I'm going to do one last thing before we go, and it's kind of minor, but I don't care. Whenever I hit play, it comes up with this. I do need to select current. Ta-da! Next time, I think we're going to make this like an actual game level instead of this just like pirate ship where we lose the ball all the time. Anyway, you take it easy, have a good one, and I'll see you next time. Hey, real quick before you scoot, I am on buymeacoffee.com. It's kind of like Ko-Fi and Patreon together. If you found this video helpful or useful, I would appreciate you coming over here and checking this out. If you are willing or able, you can donate on this page.